pronouns. So what are reflexive pronouns? I have a list of the reflexive pronouns here. So let's start with the first one. So when we're talking first person, remember we're talking about ourselves. So in this case, if you're talking about yourself in singular form, it would be myself. So you could say, I spoke to myself. And if you're using the plural form of first person, we would use we spoke to ourselves. So that's first person. And second person is, remember, that's when you're talking directly to someone. So you would write it as, for instance, you spoke to yourself. And if you're using plural, you could say, you all spoke to yourselves, for instance. So I'm just going to write it here. You all spoke to yourselves. So what you notice here is that when we're using reflexive pronoun, the subject and the object are essentially the same thing. So for instance, here the subject is I. The subject pronoun here is I. And then myself is reflecting back to I. So you're talking about yourself. So when the subject and the object are the same thing, we're usually using a reflexive pronoun. And then third person. So this is when, of course, you're talking to someone else, but you're talking about something else. So we have himself when we're talking about male. We have herself, female, and have itself if we're talking about an object or non-human thing. So you could say, let me maybe move this, let me clear up all this here. So I think, or actually better, let me clear this up. He loves himself. So you see here we're using the he when we're referring to a male and himself. So he is talking about himself. So you see here the object and the subject are essentially the same thing. And then you could say she loves herself. Or you could say the dog loves itself. So anytime you're reflecting or talking about yourself, or something is talking about itself, then you want to use reflexive pronouns. And then, of course, if we're talking about a group in third person, you could say they enjoyed themselves. So there are many different ways of using reflexive pronouns. This is just to give you an idea of how to use them and what they are. So let's do a quick quiz. See if you can go through it yourself, and then after I'll show you the answers. So the quiz is right here. Try to answer it, and then you can pause the video. Okay, so let's go through it. So Sarah taught blank how to draw. So remember, we're talking about Sarah, and Sarah's probably talking about herself, and typically Sarah is a female. So Sarah taught herself to draw, how to draw. Okay, so the subject, object are the same. Then second one, I made the sandwich by myself. Okay, so this one is coming after a preposition, by myself. So that's another way you'll see it, but just remember that myself is always reflecting back to the subject. So myself and I are the same thing. Okay, so the second one is, the third one is the children clean the room. Now we're talking about a group of people, so you have to use a plural. So the children clean the room by themselves. And this one, he looked at blank in the mirror. So this is a perfect example because again, when you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at yourself. So he looked, and since we're using the subject pronoun that usually refers to a male, he looked at himself in the mirror. And then we enjoyed, this is the plural subject pronoun, we enjoyed ourselves. At the beach. Okay, and then lastly, you should be proud. Now see here, we're using second person. You should be proud. We're talking to someone else, of yourself. If you got those correct, perfect, that's amazing. So that's essentially what reflexive pronouns are. It's usually when the subject and the object are the same thing, and when you're talking about yourself. And they can sometimes come after a preposition. So just remember that there's variation, but it's always the subject. We're always referring to back to the subject. So just remember that, always referring. We use reflexive pronouns when the subject and the object are the same things. So that's it for this video. If this was helpful to you, please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment.